Good afternoon, welcome back to Transit Chats. We're back in Indooroopilly to speak with this week's special guest, Councillor Penny Wolff. How are you this afternoon?
I am fantastic, thank you, Amy. How are you?
Oh, I mean, it's not like I'm in Indooroopilly very often, but I'm fine. So, we're to talk about Metro and the various services pulling through your ward.
Yep.
Some of your bus routes make some interesting turns, I noticed last week. That's okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready.
All right. You've made quite a name for yourself for your transit series. Is it like a personal passion of yours, or are you just trying to are you trying to promote transit, trying to promote the council's plan? What sort of inspired you to start it?
Oh, look, many things actually, Emmy, and I'd probably start with changing the behaviour of our culture of how we perceive use of buses and trains is probably where it all began for me. So really trying to embrace the love of public transport and embracing it here in Brisbane because we have such a beautiful city. And for me, you know, being a local councillor is about connectivity and making sure our communities come together. And public transport is one of those simple ways that people can get from A to B and should be accessible to everybody. Probably my history with buses actually started a long time ago. A really funny story is one of my girlfriends, Cassandra, she was the producer of a kids' TV show on Network 10. She had a couple. One was called In the Box and one was called Puzzle Play. Now on Puzzle Play, the bus was named after me. It was called Penny. And ever since then, I suppose, you know, there's been this innate interest for me in buses. And anything I can do to project Brisbane bus services, transit, public transport, you know, whether it's ferries, buses, trains, I think that is awesome for our city.
Got the Metro.
Oh, can't forget the Metro. We've plenty of talking about the Metro though, won't there?
Oh, there sure will be. This bus is very loud, so I do apologise to my audience for the audio quality. Your audience adores Aaron.
Yeah.
Where'd you meet him?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of history for me with the Brisbane Bus Nut, with Aaron. So I first came across Aaron through the Lord Mayor's Youth Environmental Leadership Network. He presented in that group, which was fantastic, and he created a concept which was for recycled bin stickers. So it was really interesting that he wanted to roll out better use of how we all embrace recycling, and he created these amazing stickers that go on the front of our bins to try and promote people to put the right things in the right bins. So I kind of took him under my wing with that project, and then from that discovered his absolute love for buses as well, and that led into you know, doing a youth forum with him and a few other things along the way. We did a festival in Fig Tree Pocket called Jacaranda Festival that he had a lot to do with in gathering the youth, and then ever since then, yeah, really like to engage with the young people in my ward to learn from them, because I don't know everything. I don't know everything about public transport, and the key always in life is to surround yourself with people that have a gift in certain areas, and I quickly worked out that he had a gift in buses and absolutely loves buses. So, you know, I can say I've learned a lot from him. Yeah.
What role does good transport have in benefiting your constituents, and I guess moving towards the Olympics?
Yeah, definitely. Look, just as the Lord Mayor, Adrian Schrinner, and I and all the team, we're all about trying to get as many people as possible onto public transport. And I think what we've seen with 50-cent fares is an incredible uptake and a cultural shift that has begun, and we've got more work to do in that space. But we have 6.8 million trips on the Metro in its first year, and we've seen a 27% increase in bus usage in the last couple of years, and a lot of that is thanks to the state government making 50-cent fares permanent. So that was a 16% increase that we saw, and then the next 9% is actually an increase because of the Metro and also the Brisbane's new bus network. So I think as we move forward, to answer the rest of your question towards the Olympics, the next phase of the question, we absolutely have to be thinking about the legacy of the Olympics and beyond, and what does that look like for Brisbane?
Yeah, Hot topic on everyone's mind
Yes.
is the Olympics.
Yes.
It feels like you can't stop hearing about it. It is every other week. Will the Olympics be good? Will it suck? Are we on track? Is it derailed? It gets a bit exhausting. But obviously people care about the Olympics. This is such a great opportunity for our city.
Yes, it's
We get to show ourselves on the world stage as the best city on earth. So sort of walk me through what council's plan is for the Olympics, what you're doing after the Olympics, and how are you ensuring that everything stays, I'm going to make yet another rail reference, on track. So when we get to the Olympics, we can show how much better that we are than everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, look, there's a lot happening in the space. Brisbane, without a doubt, is the best city in Australia, probably around the world. We have the best lifestyle.
She gets it.
Yeah, 100%. Brisbane born and bred, what's not to love about Brisbane? But it's about channeling all of that information and everyone's ideas into something that's usable. And at the moment, Brisbane City Council has just released our Brisbane Legacy Plan. So you can actually go onto the Brisbane City Council website and provide opinions on some local initiatives that are there for everyone to view. So I encourage everyone to get on there and provide some feedback. That's open till March. So that's the Brisbane Legacy 2032 plan. So yeah, that's a really nice way of channeling some of those ideas into a format that we can then look at and use. Because it's not just about the Olympics, it's about what is the legacy for Brisbane.
Okay, so Victoria Park Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm against it. I'm against it personally. I think it would have been cooler in Hamilton. What are your sort of personal opinions about it?
Yeah.
I think it would be cooler in Hamilton. It would be, or
I think
not Mount Gravatt. It would have been terrible.
I think what's really important to talk about with Victoria Park is that we already have a busway and metros going to that area. So that's a real positive, correct.
And a train line.
So that's a real positive. And look, I have a lot of faith in the state government and what is rolling out and their vision. And I'm all about ensuring that we can have access to a great stadium beyond the Olympics. Yeah. And we need a precinct. We need a place where we can really shine a light on our awesome Australian sports and celebrate beyond 2032. So there's capacity there for us to do so at that location. So yeah, I back what's in place and I'm looking forward to seeing it all roll out. What's also important to talk about is we were announced as a host city very, very early on in the piece. So it gave us a really long runway into this. So now that we are seeing some action happening, we still have time to achieve what we need to. Yeah.
Good tie-in to sort of the Brisbane Metro.
Yeah.
One of the biggest stories in transit over the past year within the state, obviously the biggest story is Melbourne's Metro Tunnel. But within Southeast Queensland has been the Metro's tremendous success.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going above expectations, above projections. That's really awesome. There were a lot of complaints from the transit community regarding the Metro, but I think the data's good enough. We sort of ignore those. I suppose the next question is what's next.
Yeah.
The M1's done. Yeah. M2's done.
Yep.
Presume we're waiting for 3-minute frequency. Do you know the time frame on that?
Yeah, no, look, I don't know the time frame on the 3-minute frequency, but what I can say is the state through their Brisbane 2032 plan and also Brisbane City Council through Lord Mayor Adrian Schrinner and the team, you know, we are all about embracing all levels of government to ensure that the Metro rolls out successfully in the years to come. And what that looks like, you know, the plan for the last 12 months has been developed and will continue to be developed. But we're looking at, you know, improvements to the north, to Chermside and to the south, to Springwood, and to the east to Capalaba, which I know is of interest to you.
Yes.
And, you know, only yesterday in Chamber for Brisbane City Council, there's a lot of conversation around Metro and the business case and ensuring that funds are allocated to the business case so that we get all the correct research to make sure that we can expand the Brisbane Metro, which will be just so great for Brisbane and getting everyone home sooner and safer.
Well, that answers the next question, so I'm going to skip that. Yeah. There's been some concern from opposition in council over the past week regarding timelines. Now, I understand there's been a lot of disruptions over the past few years in transit in general all over Australia. But the main point that they made is that with only really like 6 years to go to the Olympics, it's a concern that sector has had previously in the past. Are you really able to build something of the scale that Brisbane City Council would want in the time frame that we've got left, especially considering I think the Olympic plans in general have been pushed very to the last minute all over Australia, well, not really, all over Southeast Queensland. So we've got 6 years for the Olympics. Ideally, you'd want it done early 2032, late 2031. The business case is I think slated to be a maximum of 2 years.
Yep.
Leaving only really 4 years to deliver this mega project. What's like your side of council's response to that? Like, what are you seeing that you're able to share, and how confident are you that you're able to keep things on track for the Olympics?
Oh, look, there's many parts to that question. I think what's really important is that we celebrate where we're at and that we have had the biggest rollout with the metro and success of that so far, and the data and the statistics show that success. You know, I'm really fortunate here in the Walter Taylor Ward that I've been part of the trial of the metro, and then also saw the uptake as we then transitioned into the use of the metro. And we're talking about a vehicle that's fully electric. It's turn up and go. It carries 170 people. It's not a bus. And we're talking about a movement from buses, which was a busload of people, to 3 busloads of people in one travelling unit. And I think it's really important to talk about that in terms of mass transit. Then when we made the changes in June last year with Brisbane's new bus network, we sort of made changes that were important to ensure that routes were really looked at carefully. So there's a lot of work in that rollout. And now as we move forward into the next generation of what the metro could look like, we have great data and we have better understanding of how it all works because of already the M1 and the M2 being so successful. Look, I have complete faith in where we can go and what we can achieve with Metro. And I think with everyone working together, it's not just about the Olympics, it's about the legacy and the future for Brisbane beyond 2032. So we have to be really careful that we don't just get stuck in this, is it going to be ready for the Olympics? So we're actually thinking about the future of Brisbane in all its glory, not just because of the Olympics. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, not moving on from that quite yet.
Yeah.
In the event that there was some kind of like, something derailed that plan,
yeah,
and the Eastern Busway, Northern Busway could not get done by the Olympics,
yeah,
would council be open to running the metro vehicles on open road to form the M3, form the M4 prior to the project being complete?
It's a good question.
It's obviously not permanently, as the metros only work because they're not on open road.
Yeah, correct.
If they were set on open road, they would just be another bus and would be subject to the same complaints that we all have for buses.
Yeah.
But as a temporary measure to not derail the Olympics and keep Capalaba, that has an Olympic venue, like part of the rest of the network, as a temporary measure, would council be okay to just bite the bullet, send these vehicles on open road, deal with the complaints temporarily, so things aren't derailed prior to the completion of the Eastern, Northern, and Southeast Busway? Southeast Busway is already at Springwood, but Northern Busway and Eastern Busway extensions.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to give you an answer to that one, Imi, but I don't.
Probably one for Councillor Wines?
Definitely one, I think, for Councillor Wines, and most certainly please reach out to him.
Yeah.
For me, because I don't sit on the Transport Committee.
Yeah.
I sit on City Planning and Suburban Renewal, and also
enthusiast.
Community in the Arts. I do take a very, passionate view into transport here in Brisbane, but yeah, I'm not kind of privy to those conversations to that level of detail, but certainly can get Councillor Wines to respond if you like.
The local MP, Michael Berkman, I think, has been calling for Taringa Station's been made accessible for quite a while now.
Yep.
Taringa's in your ward, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is, yeah.
So obviously it's something that you care about as well.
Yep, yep.
Do you share that opinion? Do you guys think, especially with a lot of the redevelopments proposed for the Taringa area, it's already a very widely used station, could start to see a lot of numbers actually like peak up.
Yep.
Is an accessibility rebuild prior to 2032 possible? Is that what you're hearing? And do you have a time frame as to when Taringa gets rebuilt?
Oh, look, I think in terms of accessibility, it's a really important conversation that we continue to have, particularly because we'll be hosting the Paralympics. So through my ward, I've got Toowong Station, Taringa, and also Indooroopilly. And Taringa is probably the one where I'd love to see some uplift, and that is, as you say, the responsibility of our state member. And nothing's really changed there for many, many years. So, I'm all for working with the new state government to ensure that we see some changes there. There is some exciting opportunities, I think, at the moment with housing, to see more housing going in that pocket, so that we can see some development happening in that whole precinct that surrounds Taringa train station. Not too far reaching, but certainly very close to the Taringa train station, and then that way we should see some uplift to the station itself.
That would be very good.
Yes, it would be fantastic.
I'm a big disability advocate myself.
Yep.
I'm going to touch briefly on hidden disabilities. Obviously, progress was made last year to sort of further hidden disability recognition in Queensland by a large part of sector's pretty big campaign regarding the hidden disabilities Sunflower.
Yep.
Thanks to our work, metro ramps now extend for people who don't have visible disabilities. They were always supposed to, but I think council got on board with that and had that changed.
Yep.
Hidden disabilities aren't properly recognised by most bus companies and aren't recognised by TransLink. Obviously, that's out of your scope.
Yep.
But would you like to see the state government start to take hidden disabilities on board and move different government agencies to recognise it? Again, I do recognise not in your scope.
No, definitely not. And as you
personally,
as you've said, it is a state matter. But what I can say is there's been a lot of work already with Brisbane City Council, with the work with the hidden disability and with Sunflower, to the point where I've been sitting in on committee meetings and actually learnt more about the program myself, so I'm aware of it. So there's definitely great things happening in that space, which I'm all for, and I certainly recognise it when I see it being worn. So yeah, definitely work happening in that space, and in terms of the Taringa Council, we are on board and doing a lot. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, fun little fact for you.
Yes.
Fun little fact for you. In the 1960s, Brisbane had a tram network.
Yeah.
What was that? Okay. If Brisbane's tram network was left as it was, no expansions, no removals, it would be one of the biggest tram networks in the world today.
Whoa.
We don't have a tram network. Obviously, we have these brilliant metro vehicles.
Yeah.
And I personally am a believer that trams don't really have that many benefits over metro. I know the trams I rode in Melbourne sucked. The 3 tram wasn't good, neither was the 6-7 tram. And obviously, council's committed to metro.
Absolutely.
Great. Get that expanded. But in the next 20 years, do you think Brisbane will have we're going to use light rail rather than tram, because light rails do have higher capacities than metros, unlike trams. Do you think Brisbane will get a tram network? Will light rail network? Do you think we need a light rail network in the next 20 years? And where do you stand on this? I know I've had some interesting chats to Councillor Murphy about trams, but
have you? Okay.
Where do you stand on this?
Oh, look, I think now that we've started the journey with the metro, it is the right decision. It's the right way forward. And light rail would be difficult because it would need to close down a lot of streets in order for it to happen. And I just don't think now we're at that point where we have the capacity where we can start shutting down roads in order for light rail to roll out. So yeah, look, metro is where we need to be focusing on and keep projecting that forward and seeing great results.
Okay, burning question.
Yeah.
Most controversial question of all. What is your favourite bus route and why?
Oh, wow. Okay.
You can't say the 444 because everyone's with the 444.
No, I'm not going to say 444. I'm actually going to say the 432 because it gets me from Indooroopilly Shopping Centre to UQ very quickly. If I'm after a more scenic route, because sometimes I like to do ward orders so that I've got both hands free so I can take photos and videos, the 414 is great because it takes me through a really big chunk of my ward, which includes Toowong, Taringa, Indooroopilly and also St Lucia. So 414 is also popular with me.